So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are obviously still in Matchday 14, and we have another great game coming up for you today. It is now SPALE against Playing Ducks. Now these two, well, they're very close at the moment on the ladder board, really, or the rankings overall. 5th and 7th position, so really, really close stuff coming up. And considering how tight it is at the moment, they need to get this victory.
They need it under their belts, to be honest, because that will, well, for SPALE, perhaps even secure that top 6 position. With Playing Ducks, they need to get that top 6 position. So there's a lot to play for both of these teams.
Yeah, indeed. It's all coming onto the line right now. And these teams are pretty much ready. So let's not waste too much of the time. Let's get over towards Melly, first of all, though, who can give you an idea of how to get your predictions through to us here in the studio, which we love to hear. So, Melly, how can people in home get involved with us here in the studio?
It's easy. Head over to facebook.com/WoT Pro League and like our Facebook page. Also follow us on Twitter @WoT Pro League. So it's, as I said, pretty easy to get in touch with us, involved with us. And yeah, we want to hear everything from you. Tweet us what's on your mind. If you have any questions regarding the gameplay or the matches, the matchups, the teams, the tanks, the maps, whatever you want to know, I can ask you, our 2 experts for you. That's the way I wanted to say it. Sorry. So the next way is, oh, before I forget, I will of course reward 3 tweets of the day. So it's really worth checking in with Twitter and tweeting, because you will, these 3 tweets, I can't talk today, I'm sorry, we'll get bonus codes, of course. Another way of winning bonus codes is on Facebook. I already put up a poll where you can vote for your favorite team on the matchup, and in the comment section below, you can just leave your predictions regarding the exact scoreline of this upcoming matchup. And if you guess right, and if you get lucky, you may win one of 3 bonus codes. So a lot of bonus codes everywhere. Head over to our social media platforms, check them out, be part of our community, and yeah, get involved.
Well, you heard it from Melly there herself. Make sure you get involved. We love hearing from you here in the studio. It gives us a little bit of a connection to the outside world and your thoughts towards the game, because these two are very close head-to-head, especially in the rankings. And speaking of head-to-heads, I think it'd be a good time to actually start looking towards those lineups, because there's a lot of outstanding players between these two. A lot of them you'll probably know by now, but let's give you a little bit of a reminder towards SPALE and Playing Ducks.
So for SPALE, we've got the team captain, obviously that being Eurofish. He used to be an artillery player, but now usually heads towards those heavy tanks, also playing the T1 on some maps. We've got BND, who's really stepped up to his game, but to be honest, he was always good at the beginning. And Dovahkiin has come back in the lineup for this part of the season. He's one of their standout players, and Fantis is here as well. So generally, an all-star lineup for SPALE, all extremely skilled. It's not SPALE's lacking, you know, feat skill. It's definitely their synergy that sometimes lacks. For Playing Ducks, we've obviously got Seek. He's their team captain. We've got QQ. He likes to play that T69. We've got the standout player, in my opinion, A Loser. Remember that map on Steps where he just played so fantastically.
It's hard to forget that.
He went 3 against 1, and that really stood him out for anyone else. Scarin as well, another T69 player. But honestly, Playing Ducks, definitely the stronger map, the stronger team on city maps. They love their Himmelsdorfs, they love their Ruhenbergs, and even more so, they love their Ensk. So those are our 2 teams today. Both very skillful, although I think SPALE have it on skill. Playing Ducks definitely have the better team synergy. I love the way they kind of communicate. I love the way they play together. And that's just getting better and better with each match day.
Yeah, and we're getting towards that mid kind of season slump for a lot of teams, but Playing Ducks seem to be kind of building up a little bit. And it certainly is the point to be doing so. So they are ready for those tank picks. Let's not hold them up anymore. First map will be Himmelsdorf. What sort of choices do you think we're going to be seeing coming up between these two? So
it's going to be the difference between which teams picks the IS-3 extra and which team picks the AMX5100 extra. So far, it's gone for T1 IS-3 for Playing Ducks, double T1 for SPALE. T1 AMX5100 for Playing Ducks, double 5100 for SPALE. So just back and forwards with those mixture between French and Russian tanks, double IS-3 now coming out from SPALE. And again, it's going to be between the third IS-3 or the third 5100.
Now, which lineup do you prefer there? Personally, that is. Because you did used to play this game at a fairly top-tier level. It's weird being nice to you, but I'll admit it. What do you generally prefer to be rolling with?
I prefer the triple IS-3 because the 5100 is so situational that you can get caught out. Once you've unloaded all 6 shells, you know, you start to struggle. And if you only penetrate like 4 of them, which I guess is like the average, you're not even going to take down an IS-3. You need to be penetrating at least 5, and that's if you get the average damage each time with 1,500 HP on the IS-3. But last pick from Playing Ducks, the IS-3, as so for SPALE, making Playing Ducks line up a triple IS-3, double 5100, double T1. And for SPALE, they've gone for exactly the same. So the triple IS-3, double 5100, tier 1. So mirrored lineup on both teams.
So we cannot wait to see this first map. So let's get that video lined up for you guys at home to welcome you into Himmelsdorf.
Himmelsdorf is the city maps of city maps. It's a small one, being 600 by 600 meters. There are 3 routes of attack: the hill, the banana, and the train side. The middle area is relatively easy to push, however can end up in disaster as you can be flanked from every side. The road, often called banana, allows for direct head-on assaults but requires a lot of resources. Both the railroad area and the road next to it are good routes of attack, being very open and straight. However, for those very same reasons, you can be easily caught out and taken down. The map features many densely housed areas, which provides good places for engagements and routes of attack. Teams must be aware of the various routes their opponents can take through the map, as well as the hull-down positions enemies can take throughout the entire map. The trick with Himmelsdorf is to catch an enemy tank unsupported by his teammates and then use that advantage to collapse on the entire enemy team.
So welcome into Himmelsdorf for the first map. We will be seeing in the south the Playing Ducks in that gold and yellow facing off against the rather northern SPALE in that lovely little blue. So what are we seeing from these two so far?
So SPALE heading towards hill. That's with Eurofish playing the 5100 and Dovahkiin in hot pursuit with that T1. Mokilumi's looking towards that 8 line. And we got a couple of tanks dotted here, there, everywhere. And for the side of Playing Ducks, pushing up the 8 line, the banana road, depends what you like to call it. Another team that looks like going towards the WoT Pro tactic. A little bit strange.
Yeah, they're really liking that. And, well, WoT Pro do it well. You can see why they might favor it, but there's also a hell of a lot of risk if they're going for this. They're initially facing down Mokialumi down the very end of that banana road. Aluza in a great position, however, using the cover. Shells just flying past. You're seeing that slamming into the wall behind him. But Aluza can play it carefully now, but they are going to give up certain positions on this map, and they have shown their hand very, very early on here.
But SPALE probably already knew what the hand was going to be before they even did it, because you can see by Mokilumi's position, which is much further backwards. Usually we see the IS-3 here, but instead he's about 200 meters back here. So he stood there just because he didn't want the IS-3s to come round onto him and actually connect the shells. He's going to get the side shots on them instead, which is definitely good for SPALE, but no damage has been done so far. You can see that. Although Arjo does have a little crack at Dovahkiin, who's down to 68 HP as well. Eurofish, though, he'll be able to push up. He's unspotted at this point. He can try and get the kill onto Arjo, which will give SPALE a significant advantage since that T1 is very important on Himmelsdorf. Just put the extra dimension of pressure on in terms of capping and in terms of scouting. And that's what this team's trying to do. Dovahkiin's managed to get himself onto the hill, although in a one-on-one engagement now, he'll struggle to kill the other team's Team 1.
Yeah, indeed, and Eurofish was spotted out there by IEO, but he's playing carefully, and rightly so, considering how far in, let's just say, Playing Ducks are playing. They cannot give up space like this. When their hand has been completely red, they've got to be careful, and I think IEO is just holding on for now. They're not going too crazy, but I'm looking at what the Ducks are getting up to right now. Iceman and Scarin both pushing out of that central area. They might have just spotted the T1. Dovahkiin might have just spotted them as well, so that could negate the little bit of early presence or, you know, that little bit of a move they just started to make happen. Loser as well, pushing forward a little bit, but they're just trying to, you know, test the waters here. They're in enemy territory, let's just say.
And what's funny is that SPALE have just put 3 tanks sitting back in their base. Look, you got Aga, Mapati, and BND, 2 IS-3s and 1 5100 just relaxing, chilling back, only about 50 meters away from their own cap zone. That's probably just because they can, you know, get around and get back very quickly. It also means perhaps that if Playing Ducks do end up pushing, that they can just send these 3 beasts around the corner and just catch them completely off guard, which will maybe work, although it's kind of strange because you can see that Eurofish is just out on a complete limb. He's playing that 5100 and he's just trying to go forward. He does take down Arjo in that T1 though.
Yeah, but that has kind of conned on a little bit of a movement coming out now from Iceman and Scarin, pushing right down that 5 line. They know there's going to be tanks waiting somewhere, but where are they? Will they expect that 3-tank stack coming out? I don't think anyone would, but Iceman now pushing forward, still not spotting out those tanks. They could be in trouble. They're going to get that cup underway, but you can imagine they're going to be in a world of trouble as soon as those tanks do appear. Muppety now being spotted out. Scarin's on the case. He's being careful, but the first shells are now arriving. Agaha making that count. Doesn't connect it, however, but they now have worked out. They are on the back pedal. They're trying to back away a touch, but carefully in those IS-3s. They know their strength points. They don't want to be allowing a bit of a chance. Nice shots coming in. Agaha down to 816, but B&D on the scene. Look at that damage. Scarin down to 1-2-0-1. Followed up with the IS-3 shot from Muppety. These guys are doing exactly what they have to. They've got them held in place right now. Muppety does receive a shell, but B&D smashes down Scarin. He's getting aggressive though, pushing right across the eyes of Iceman. Gets caught on the side by QQ and Siege, but still, Playing Ducks are in a little bit of trouble. They're almost kind of pulled out their position a bit too far here.
But B&D, he's only got one shell left, and that won't be enough to take down Iceman. It's 677 left on the IS-3. That's why B&D is not heading around the corner. Iceman did shot, which will give B&D the chance to make one. He's make Ice Down go down to 382 HP. The only Neo takes down Fantasy in the T1. So in terms of T1s, these two teams now drawed up. But look at this. We've got Playing Ducks making a big move, as well as SPALE. Looks like Dovahkiin has gone into the cap. He's put the pressure on, the extra dimension you need. But SPALE, they're going to come on to Scarin as well.
Yeah, look at Siege right now. He's got a great position here. He's going to be working his way around the flank, trying to find a little bit of an angle he can challenge on, maybe alleviate some of the pressure, because as you mentioned, that T1 has now put at least Playing Ducks on the back foot a touch. They've got to be careful here. And they have got their T1 on the way back now. That's Neo trying to sort out the little bit of an issue, let's just call it. As Iceman still dug in fairly deep. They know exactly where SPALE are, but whether or not they can actually deal with them is a completely different matter.
You got Iceman. He's down to 382. Elos are down to 523. But it looks like Iceman's going to try and test the waters. Mokilumi's going to be there, and Eurofish.
Yeah, indeed, they are really pushing back. They're not allowing him an easy route through at all. 53 seconds left on the cap. That tier 1 now is after him as well. But the real action is with Iceman, who's down to 113. Does get the shot on towards Eurofish. Siege did back away, but he's repositioned into a different area right down by A1, A2. Now looking to alleviate the pressure, but Mokialumi comes in big when it matters. Takes him down. And now we're just seeing 3 of the big tanks left. Those 5100s, those IS-3s. We are seeing the T1s battling out. That's reset the time. But right now, I do believe Neo's only left on 64 HP. It could be enough. Nice shot coming from QQ, however. He does get the damage towards Eurofish. Now pushing around, looking towards Mokialumi. Siege comes in from the side. Mokialumi gets some damage towards him, but QQ going low as well. They are going blow for blow. QQ needs to back away, as Siege must get into the action right now. He's got eyes trained towards Mokialumi and Muppety, but Muppety's got the cover to possibly cover himself off here. Siege gets one shot towards him. Aga has come around the side. This is going all the way. Mokialumi does find a loser. This could be huge right now. They need to make it count. Siege takes down Agaha. This is going back and forth. QQ onto B&D. Now it's almost all even. They just need to make these shells count so desperately. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Siege finds cover. They know where these two big damage-dealing tanks are, but will they expect Eurofish going for the push now? Charging around the corner. Siege is only steps away. He's going to be in trouble. 777 HP up against him. First shell will land in favor of SPALE. He's looking for the follow-up. He's got it. Doesn't take him down, though. Siege escapes just about in time, but the backup is nowhere to be found.
It's Eurofish. He's pushing onto Siege. He's got that task under control. Muppety and Mokilumi now looking for QQ in that 5100. Obviously, Siege is more than a one-shot. You probably can get killed by a T1 at this point. Eurofish takes down the remaining T1 of Playing Ducks. That's the only Neo. But will Muppety and Mokilumi hunt? Will they try and take down that 5100? Obviously, a 5100 is far faster. You can see its speed across the map, but it's Eurofish and Siege.
Yeah, indeed, Eurofish has just been held in place, but it's not enough. Eurofish will take him down, as now just QQ stands. He's just got reload available. He's got 207 HP. He's not got enough to make it count there, as Mokialumi will come in and SPALE will pick up the first map there. Fantastic play coming out from those guys. Got to give them that. But, well, it was an interesting play. I've never seen that strategy the Virtus Pro use getting pushed to that later game, because normally by that point, they've won it. But SPALE kind of expected that then.
They literally did. They knew what's going to happen from Playing Ducks. That's why they put their tanks in the back. And we saw, you know, when Evil Planet Squad tried to counter that tactic against Virtus Pro, when they tried to push aggressively onto the tanks going into the middle, they just got obliterated. It was one of the fastest games. It was 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But SPALE played it perfectly. They put their tanks back in their base. They waited for Playing Ducks to come around. I think they could have waited even a little bit longer, 20 to 30 seconds longer.
Correct.
So SPALE would have, for Playing Ducks, would have committed a little bit more towards that cap. But from that point onwards, or the ballpark was in, no, the ball was in SPALE's park. You know, they could just sit there, they could just wait, and that's exactly what they did. Once that IS3 went down, caught out in the middle with the extra 5100, which they used to great effect. It was a hard and it was a tall order for Playing Ducks. They actually did try and come back a lot. A couple of failed shots, and I think honestly, the one shot that really, you know, kind of sealed the deal for SPALE was when a loser missed his shot onto Mokilumi, who was in the IS3 at 361 HP, especially because that 390 damage can come up from that BL9. That would have made things all even.
Gonna say it right now, Loser getting 0 damage in that game.
Whoa.
He didn't get a single shell to connect.
He's gonna get a talking to, I think.
He might do, because he's the only player really to be negated out of this, excluding one tier 1, which was Fantis. But you kind of expect that in a tier 1 if they're just playing the vision role, which is completely acceptable. But for Loser, one of the star players, not to land a single shell, that's worrying. Siege did pick up the slack in the 5100, hitting 2.4k damage. But still, imagine if that IS3 of Loser was just even in the battle. That could have swung that, considering how low SPALE actually were by the end of it. You know, one tank in a little bit of a better position, executing a little bit better by themselves, could have swung that game, but it was SPALE to pick that one up, and, you know, they did extremely well doing it, but I think they are actually ready for the tank picks to get underway. They're not, you know, messing around at all here. So why don't you take us into what we might be seeing here on Prokhorovka?
So double T1, double T1 for Playing Ducks both sides. I think we're going to see the standard lineup. The question is, will SPALE decide to go for the 4-1-6 again? I think they're going to be a little bit hesitant because it didn't work out so well last time. And we're just going to have to wait and see. It's the double 30-90, the double 30-90 from both teams. SPALE are going to go for that 4-1-6.
Yeah, I'm looking towards that 4-1-6, see how it really evolves here, because we saw it in play before. I'm not sure if I enjoy it on this map as much as others. Like, I feel as though it's got a good place, you know, in steps maybe, or something along those lines, but I'm a little bit dubious about Prokhorovka. I'm not too sure. Maybe I haven't seen it really been put to good effect yet, whereas the Pershing I'm completely fine with. But how do you feel as though the 4-1-6 can be optimally used?
Just needs to be put in a good sniping position, and once it's done the damage in the sniping position, it does have that speed to get itself in the firefight pretty darn quickly. But the next pick for the side of Playing Ducks is the T69 and the Pershing. Last pick from SPALE will be the MX-1390. So for SPALE, at least, they've gone a very fast, very dynamic lineup, capable of getting pretty much from one side of the map to the other extremely quickly if it so has to.
And I like that within SPALE. I like seeing them with the opportunities there when they're not just drilled down to, you know, that one all-in strategy. When they don't depend on that one kind of moment, they seem to always have a little bit of a backup plan that they're good at working with. I think that's just the individual players that can sometimes shine from that a little bit more than other teams, because they do have talented players like Dovahkiin, like Muppety, Euralfish especially can be absolutely wonderful at times. So, I don't know, I like seeing a little bit of flexibility amongst their tank picks.
I love it. I really enjoy to see how, you know, a team which is based on speed and just quickly reacting to the situation reflects that with their tank picks. But tank picking has been concluded. The double T69, double MX-1390, Pershing and double T1 is going to be the choice of Playing Ducks for this one. It looks like the side of SPALE, as I said, going for something a lot quicker. Triple MX-1390, double T69, and the 4-1-6 as well as the two T1s will be their lineup.
Now, what's your prediction on this one, very quickly?
Well, I'll be scared for Playing Ducks because their map is Himmelsdorf, and this map is Prokhorovka for SPALE, so I think I'm going to give it to SPALE.
Okay, so you're going to go for a 2-0, basically, then. That's where you're...
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. I feel as though it was a close game on the previous map, but I feel as though that was maybe brought about by the fact that SPALE actually knew what was coming out from Playing Ducks there. They really did read that play so well. Maybe not going to be able to do it as much on Prokhorovka unless they've been doing their homework, you know, every single hour of the day, which I would not put past them. When they're, you know, on point and they're actually, you know, really focused on their games and they want to really, you know, secure themselves in that top 6, SPALE are more than capable. They've had a bit of a shaky season so far, but you know, when they're drilled down, they can understand an opponent. And if I feel they've, you know, done their homework across the whole board rather than just Himmelsdorf, I feel as though this could be theirs. But without that, Playing Ducks showed some real talent there as well, you know, apart from Loser not actually getting to the game. But guys, let's get ready for that second map, Prokhorovka.
Prokhorovka, a large map at 1,000 by 1,000 meters which allows teams to stretch their legs and artillery to test their skills. There are 3 primary routes of attack: over the left tree road, the middle area and towards the town. The tree road is very open and flat but has a very large number of bushes and trees that provide good cover if you're not shooting. The middle area is where the initial engagements happen as teams gather as much information as they possibly can. Both teams are fairly symmetrical and only offer small hills and brushes as cover. The middle area is where the initial engagements happen as teams gather as much information as they possibly can. The railroad that splits the map has a large number of bushes running alongside it that provides good cover and the occasional route of attack in the village and hill area. Teams should look towards taking fast tanks and artillery as they complement each other on this expansive map.
So, welcome into the second map here. It will be Prokhorovka, as Joe kindly told us. And in the north, it's Playing Ducks, and in the south, it's SPALE. What are we seeing so far?
SPALE playing quite tentatively. They've left a couple of T69s in the background. They have stand up BND, Mokulumi, and Aga playing those AMX-3090s forwards, which is to be expected. Very reminiscent of the previous game. But this time, SPALE playing very aggressively, gambling on the fact that Playing Ducks aren't sitting over towards this middle right area, but instead doing exactly what they're doing, pushing over towards the trench side, pushing over towards that road. They got the first shot on, though. BND's down to 878 in his AMX-1390. So first little bit of damage in the favor of Playing Ducks.
Yeah, and every bit helps there. And, well, SPALE going very aggressive. That three-man stack down that 5 line could quite offset this game if Skarian, Iceman, and QQ don't actually expect it. And, well, I think with the initial damage, as you mentioned, going towards BND, they've certainly realized what's happening, but whether or not they can deal with it, we'll find out. Couple of shells coming back, no connections. I'm just going to wait to see who's going to take that real leap of faith right now. It's Siege finding Dovahkiin, so that's a T1 taken out. But still, that's not a huge bit of damage done at the moment. This could still change either way.
What's fantastic is the fact that Playing Ducks has now turned the tables on SPALE. The previous game, Himmelsdorf, SPALE knew exactly what Playing Ducks were going to do. This game, Playing Ducks know exactly what SPALE are going to do. So it's all changed up. BND is getting constantly spotting up by that T1. They can't seem to find it. They can't seem to do the damage. It's just sitting in one of those bushes. So a couple of blind shots have gone into that one, but they haven't seemed to have connected that penultimate shell, that last one as well. So they just have to do that, otherwise they're going to continue to get spotted. And I imagine that SPALE know it's there. They're just not quite sure because they did try and connect the shells, just didn't manage to do so. Mokulumi now peeking over, trying to find the T69. Obviously, he's doing that backwards. That's because if you do it forwards with the superstructure turned around this way, you won't have the gun depression. Obviously, clipping comes into effect when your turret is sitting on the back of your tank.
Yeah, and I do want to point out where that T1 is, who's been kind of eluding SPALE completely. He's just tucked right in here. He does finally get taken down. So at least, you know, SPALE have a little bit more movement at the moment. But what do you think they can do here? Now they've taken down that Tier 1, they have a little bit more freedom. Where do you think they're going to take that?
They need to make sure that they don't look towards those T69s, because if anything comes down, you don't want to be getting into some sort of head-on-head engage with the T69, especially when they're not moving, because those tanks have accuracies to die for. And the MX-3090 certainly doesn't, especially with the aim down time. The accuracy is not too bad. The aim down time is pretty bad. But now it looks like Muppety is going to be the one in the bush, the T1 spotting out. And one of the few times you see the T1s really being used to their greatest effect on this map, Prokhorovka. Quite often the map is just too big for a tank like that with such low... its speed's okay, but with such low view range. So Seek is going to be in a little bit of trouble. But the thing is, the most of the damage, apart from that T69 sitting over there, Eurofish... No, not T69, the 416 sitting over there, it's pretty much okay. I mean, Playing Ducks don't have to worry too much. They can just push forwards and make sure that they don't give away too much HP doing so.
Yeah, and I think Sish is a little bit curious as to where that Tier 1 is, because Dovahkiin was taken down not too far away from where he is, so I don't think he expected the double Tier 1 presence there, but he's certainly finding out about it now. And he's going to back away. Iceman letting off another shell. No real connections, however. They have done the initial damage, but it's a bit of a stalemate at the moment. And what can SPALE do to get themselves out of this?
They have to find a win. They have to find themselves some sort of advantage, something, and that just might be it. Fantis taking down Arjo, meaning both T1s for Playing Ducks now completely out of the equation. That allows SPALE a little bit more map control, although Mokulumi does take one in the rear. He's down to 844 in his AMX-1390, but QQ gets responded one with as well. He's down to 1093. SPALE now retreating back behind the railroad. That's Aga, BND, Mokulumi, Eurofish, and Fantis. The only one who's really out on the limb is Muppety playing that T1.
Yeah, so fairly safe play coming out from the guys, and a bit of a rarity if you're a regular here. You do normally see SPALE going a little bit crazy, but this time around, playing it safe, playing it carefully, and well, Playing Ducks are not really moving much. They had the ground where they wanted it, and they've been keeping it. Those T69s, as you said, are so powerful when they get, turtled down. The accuracy is unbelievable, and they're just enjoying that fact. And, well, I don't see much enticing them to move at the moment.
It might just be on to SPALE to make the first move, the first push forwards. Eurofish, BND, and Mokilumi. That's pretty much all the fast tanks bar one. For SPALE sitting in one location. What they could do is just push around here and see if they can come around from the back and really get themselves in there. But it's going to be the firing squad onto Playing Ducks.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, indeed. SPALE have been kind of spotted out. There is Fantis, who was in trouble initially. Siege having great shots across. QQ doing damage as well. Every single player really stepping up at this moment. As soon as they found that one player out of position that they got that spot towards, they made it count. But really, it seems like SPALE are going to go for a bit of a move now.
Yeah, Mokilumi's leading the charge. Aga is in the background. BND to his right. The only one who's not cleverly is Eurofish. He's playing that 416, using that 390 average damage gun to greatest effect where it's best. Sitting in the background, sniping. Accuracy is fantastic. Aim down times fantastic. Reloads also very, very good compared to how small the tank is and how much damage it can do. Siege receives one. He's down to 856, but Scarin is also replying. And Fantis receives another one. He's down to 420. It's just a 2 shots away from dying, to be honest.
Yeah, he needs to be a little bit careful here. Scarin has been punished, though. He's been knocked back down to 1117, so can't be so aggressive in that T69. He knows that. He's using Iceman as that meat shield to get in his way, trying to soak up any of that damage coming towards him, because as you can see in the top left and top right, where the HP bars are, that at the moment, HP excluding Fantis is being drained away from the Playing Ducks. QQ, Scarring, and Siege all receiving shells. So a little bit more caution coming out as soon as they saw SPALE starting that maneuver towards them down that 2 to 5 area. But once again, Fantis appearing on the horizon. T69's eyes quickly shift over towards it. No shells coming in from at least Playing Ducks, but Fantis certainly trying to land a shell.
As is Eurofish. He's trying to do anything he can to give his team an advantage. Shell after shell raining into Iceman, but it's BND to connect it.
It is indeed, but have a look over here. Look who's going on the rotate. It's Loser, it's Siege. They are splitting off. They're going to go down that railroad, try and catch out what SPALE are up to, maybe get some presence towards that village, using the speed of those 1390s that are so prolific within this game. And well, let's see if they can put it in any good use, because those T69s, they are not moving. They are being the linchpin here. They're just going to lock it down. But we are seeing a bit of a counter movement coming in from SPALE. This could mean trouble if a Loser is not expecting this. He's going head on in towards Fantis and BND. Shell's already coming in. He's got the HP advantage. Great shot to Fantis. He receives one back. Does the damaging blow, though. Takes down Fantis, giving them a good advantage finally. BND has been spotted. I'm not sure if they expect the entirety of SPALE to be moments away, but QQ and everyone else now maneuvering in across the field. Eurofish appears. Agaher as well. BND did receive a shell, but here comes the return fire. But it's too little too late. Agaher being melted down to 100 HP. He's surely going to fall. He does. Loser finally doing the work he needed. And now Eurofish, the next target of focus, down to 200 HP. QQ going head to head, but it's Scarin to claim that one. Mokilumi finally comes back in onto QQ, but right now it's all about the Playing Ducks. They've got the presence, they've got the aggression, but can they land those shells? Scarin held in place. Loser coming in. Iceman chasing him down, trying to make him stop damaging what they're trying to do. Iceman locking down Mokilumi. He has no escape as now just BND stands and Muppety against a rather angry and aggressive firing squad of Playing Ducks.
Absolutely amazing. Everything worked perfectly for Playing Ducks. Then they had the firepower, they had the HP, and once they take down Fantis in that T69, it was game over. SPALE tried to react, pushing on them, but that 416 couldn't do the damage it wanted to. It does look like Scarring does take down BND, the final damaging tank for the side of SPALE. And honestly, the fact that Fantis stayed there quite as long as he did was a little bit of short-sighted. He should have pushed back, make sure he was in a better position, because it was only a matter of time before Playing Ducks found their way into SPALE. It's exactly what it did. Muppety goes down for Siege, and it's 1-1.
Yep, Playing Ducks picking that one up in some incredible fashion. Insane bit of play going towards that central village there, but really well read. I think you mentioned it, though. There were some curious choices coming out from SPALE then that might have been their own undoing a little bit in that one.
I honestly think Fantas had to be a lot more careful. They should have really switched positions, because SPALE did waste a lot of time in that middle area trying to find their way into playing ducks. Probably about 2 minutes. They should have reversed, got out of there as soon as possible, because there wasn't a way in, because the 3 T69s were there. And they thought the MX-39s were in there, but they weren't. They were on the rotate, took down Fantas. But another thing that really didn't go into SPALE's favor is that when they did engage those tanks pushing up, they couldn't connect the shells. There were so many shells coming in. Aga, for instance, and Eurofish couldn't land that first shell with that 320 average damage gun from the 416, and that just put playing ducks into a massive advantageous position. Not only did they have the tank advantage, but they also landing and penetrating more shells than SPALE. It
was beautifully played out, and that's the danger of these guys. And well, they read the play from the start, and they took the initiative to key factors in winning any game in World of Tanks. But the third map's going to be Ensk. Now, who do you feel that one favors? Because we've seen a little bit of disparity here. You look back towards possibly the initial city map we saw. I feel as though SPALE had the advantage because they knew what was going to be coming out from the playing ducks. But do you think they'll have that preparation here on Ensk?
I think playing ducks is a very strong team on Ensk. But having said that, SPALE at one time, I think towards the end of Season 2 and even going to Season 3, probably one of the strongest teams, if not the strongest team on Ensk. They play it really well. It just suits their team down to a T, really. True. Just their aggressive play, they can find and exploit weaknesses almost immediately within the first few minutes of the game. And everything just works so well on this map. But the question is, will playing ducks' general heavy tank skills, which is very, very, very good, 9.5 out of 10 in my opinion, will that just counteract a little bit of SPALE's ingenious pushing?
It really could. We saw ingenious pushing actually coming out from playing ducks that time, which is a rarity. As you said, that heavy tank play is normally their key factor, but seeing those 1390s just taking the initiative and being the actual kind of key, real ingredient in that previous map, it's a little bit of a worrying sight if you're a SPALE fan, at least, as it is all tied up here. Hopefully they'll be ready for those tank picks nice and quickly, but quickly give me your predictions to this. Will it be a 2-1, or do you think it's going to... Who's going to get that 2-1 at least?
It's so hard. I think SPALE will, just because they are so superb on this map.
Correct.
So I think it's going to go to 2-1 to SPALE, in my opinion. But tank picks have begun, and we're expecting a mixture of IS-3s, 5100s. Obviously, this is ENT, so it's not going to be a Himmelsdorf setup. We're going to see either a Pershing, a T69, or a 416. I even saw on the American server that they're using the MX-3090. That was Fulcrum Gaming on this map. Not quite sure why. It's a very fast tank, so it can get from A to B very quickly. It was used up the train line, so it could traverse from one side of the train line to the other. But it's questionable how reliable it can penetrate something like an IS-3. And honestly, the burst damage is so important on Ensk. You want to have that quick reload because you want to be supporting your heavy tanks very quickly. That's why I think the T69 is a better choice. But IS-3 5100 for playing ducks, double 5100 for SPALE, and again, the IS-3 and the 5100 for playing ducks.
Now, you said that the heavy tanks are going to be the big important factors for, let's say, playing ducks here, as that is their strength. What sort of strategy do you think they're going to be running at the moment?
I think they're going to be very dynamic. They're going to be pushing into the city, coming out again, looking towards the train side, coming out again, just playing about a little bit. But the IS-3 5100 was the last pick from playing ducks, double IS-3 for SPALE, their next one. The last pick from playing ducks will be that 110, last pick from SPALE will be the IS-3. So playing ducks really going for that Chinese tier 8 heavy tank, the 110, which in my opinion is a good tank, especially with the high damage gun, but it lacks penetration. It's very strong on the front, like the frontal glaciers, extremely strong. Can even bounce the 265 average penetration of the BL9. And the same goes for the 5100s. They have around the same penetration. But the question is, will that actually work? Because sometimes you just see the shells flying through that armor.
Well, we can only find out because we are just about ready for Ensk.
Ensk is a simple map on the face of it, but requires the most skillful team play to play properly. Being such a small map at 600 by 600 meters, the areas of attack are confined to through the city, through the railroads, or through the green zone. The fearsome city side, often famed for its fierce firefights, the railroads and green zone areas are hard to play as they have many death alleys. The railroads provide little cover but good sniping locations. Tanks can shoot over and navigate through the trains to ambush and weaken the opposition. When playing Ensk, Always keep in mind that teams may try and rush for the cap and not go for the city brawl. Also, take tanks that can both deal a lot of damage and react quickly to situations.
So, welcome into Ensk. In the north, it's going to be SPALE. And in the south, in that golden yellow, it is going to be Playing Ducks. Going head-to-head here, it is all tied up at 1-1. But we will find out who's going to edge ahead here on Ensk. Now, what are they going for so far?
SPALE going right towards that green zone. We don't usually see teams go all in towards there. The only thing they're really leaving is the IS-3 along the trench side, along the railroads. For the side of Playing Ducks, they're also going over towards the green zone. Both teams not opting for the city brawl, maybe trying to catch the other team by surprise, but what they're going to find is just they're going to face each other. They're just going to have a brawl, and really, with the kind of lineups these two teams have picked, exactly the same indeed. It's just going to be about who can connect the more shells, but that 110 might not penetrate as many shells as the IS-3, and that will give SPALE the edge.
Yeah, that could be a real dealing or damage-dealing blow to them if it does come down to it. But you can see Losers getting pretty restless here, pushing right up that 7 line. And, well, we're going to see if this one pays off. Who do you think's got the advantage positionally-wise at the moment?
I think neither. It just depends what happens in the next few seconds. It's Eurofish in the 5100. He's going to get spotted by the Oni Neo, and he could get some damage onto him.
Yeah, indeed. Neo's only in that tier 1, though, so he's going to be careful. But look at Loser. Eyes immediately trained on. He has been spotted out, but lovely shot coming across there. Taking Eurofish down to 996. First shot will connect from Iceman in that IS-3 on towards Dovahkiin. So a little bit more vision removed away from SPALE. But the game has been kind of, well, the jig is up, let's just say, as Iceman has been spotted out as well. And that in tow with a Loser. These guys are well aware of what's going on. Eurofish on the receiving end of a hell of a lot of damage, down to 654. So right now, Playing Ducks have that HP bonus.
Yeah, Eurofish, as you said, down to 654. He's pretty much nearing a 2-shot, especially, well, he is pretty much a 2, he's almost definitely a 2-shot for an IS-3. So he's got to be very careful. That's because of a very bold play that pretty much could have worked or just gone disastrously wrong. But Muppety is in the perfect position to land the shots on Iceman, and a Loser is still spotted. So in terms of information, Eurofish is only spotted, and now Muppety's only spotted, so it has to go to SPALE at this point in time. Mokilumi's pushing forwards, Muppety's pushing forwards. You got BND to their left. He's just going to try and land a couple of shells onto Seek, which he will do indeed. First one goes down. He's down to 476 because of a brilliant blind shot by Mokilumi in his IS-3, and that puts the HP back into SPALE's hands.
Yeah, indeed, it's almost all even right now, but look at that lineup. Mokilumi, Muppety, Agaha, all facing down Loser, steps away. This is horribly tense right now. You're just going to have to hope those 5100s can really come into play, but at the moment, they're on the receiving end of the damage. QQ being taken down. Look at Siege as well. They're trying to back away, but there is no cover. There is no running and hiding from this. They just have to depend on those reloads to give them a second to breathe. Loser will not charge into this. Scarin's moving up, however. He could be the changing factor in this. We doubted that choice. Agaha's got some fire coming back towards him. He's down to 713, but this is a scrappy battle. No one's got the clean advantage unless SPALE decide to make it really start hurting.
And it's Muppety and Mokilumi to try and do that, but they are facing 2 IS-3 of their own. And the thing is, they've lost quite a lot of HP with his AMX 5100, so it might make it quite difficult. And Aga, he's also down to a shoe shot from the BR9s, so he's got to be careful, but he's going to join in with Muppety and Mokilumi. Oh no, he's going to sit back a little bit more and make sure he doesn't get taken down. But it's Dovahkiin down for SPALE. He's the only victim of this battle so far. That could put the pressure onto SPALE in terms of the cap. If Playing Ducks distract SPALE with the capping, with the firefight, then they put 2 T1s in the cap. That goes down to about 50 seconds. Then they can start pushing in, but shots exchange as well.
Yeah, indeed. Fire being shot back and forth, trying to get those connections. Mokilumi does get on the receiving end of 1 shell there, down to 1104. Loser keeping them in place, allowing Iceman to play that damage-dealing role. And soon enough, you will possibly be seeing Scaring come around. He's playing it safe, but Mokilumi's doing so much work, but he's being held down. He's down to 72 HP. He could fall down with one more shot. Siege will land it, and that is exactly what they needed to alleviate some of that pressure that's held them in place down that 6 to 8 line. Loser looks restless now. Scaring is starting to make that move behind Agaha and B&D, but his eyes are trained on. But look at the fire coming from that green zone. Agaha down to 421. Make it 78. He could be next. He could fall down so quickly. One more shell, and he is out of there. And QQ is eyeing that one up. It's Loser to land it, and beautifully played. A little bit risky, as B&D will punish him back. And here comes Muppety, and you cannot get a clean advantage, but B&D now in trouble. You can see that Chinese tank coming into effect, taking him down fairly low, 474. But will he get the connection he wanted. He needs to make these land and make it count. Scarring receives another shell, but he's tracked BND. Iceman now pushing in. They are making their move. Playing Ducks are folding straight towards SPALE. Muppety surely going to be going down here. BND cannot escape Scarring. And now Muppety has 3 tags staring him down. Iceman will do the final blow. And we have seen Playing Ducks picking that one up in some real hard-fought fashion.
And they also went against our predictions. We thought SPALE would take it. But the thing is, to be fair on us, SPALE didn't play that city tactic, which they are so good at. Honestly, I think if they did, they would have had a better chance then. But in that situation, it only took Mocky Lumi 1 tank to make a mistake, and it was Muppety actually in his IS3 to make a mistake, and it was absolutely game over. Perfect positioning for Seek in his 5100 right in the back, so he couldn't get spotted. He managed to get the shots on, took him down, no problem at all. And from that point onwards, especially with Aga in such a big pressure situation from the flanking tank, he was just he was dead in a matter of minutes. He was pretty much out of the equation.
Well, he literally was out of the equation. He did 0 damage, and as did Mocky Alumi. Both IS3 players that normally you see at the very top, you know, they're always hitting the damage, always hitting the shells, but they got outplayed there in that green zone.
Yeah, and
Really
you know, I'm kind of disappointed with SPALE because it was about taking the initiative in that one. And the thing is, Playing Ducks, I think even if they didn't manage to catch out that IS3, would have won it anyway because they're the first ones to make the move. SPALE was sitting back. They were waiting for Playing Ducks to go on. And you can't do that when you're playing that situation because there's not that much cover in the green zone. You can't really just sit and turtle down because you're going to get surrounded.
Those 5100s were in trouble. They got taken down solo. I think it was Sishu was actually really, really in trouble. He had to back all the way off, as did QQ, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. Both of those did receive the initial damage, but they managed to get themselves back into it. So really impressive stuff. The tank picks are beginning, but they've only got the T1s out so far. But let's jump in anyway, because it will be Steps next. Currently, Playing Ducks at 2-1. Is this the turning point for SPALE?
It could. I hope so. I hope that it draws it up because it will make things slightly more interesting all round. And also looking towards that ranking table, it could be Playing Ducks heading up, and it could be SPALE heading down. Playing Ducks sitting in 7th, SPALE sitting in 5th. But so far, two T1s for both teams, 2 AMX1390s for both teams as well. SPALE picking the double T69. We're probably going to start looking towards those Pershings and 416s as we go further into tank picking. They really mix up everything, but indeed, Playing Ducks go for the double T69. So last pick from SPALE will be the AMX1390. So they're going to go for something completely, 4 weeks ago, I guess. The triple AMX1390, double T69, double T1 standard lineup. And for Playing Ducks, I think they're going to change it up a little bit, maybe with that Pershing.
Yeah, I love the Pershing on this map. I don't think we've seen it let us down yet, but it's weird seeing this map without, the 416s and choices like that, if I'm completely honest. It's been a little while since we've seen a game without it.
It's been some time, I think 2, 3, 4 weeks. But indeed, predicted right. Thank you very much. Pershing will be the last pick from Playing Ducks. So that will make their lineup a double T69, double AMX1390, Pershing double T1. And as I said before, SPALE triple AMX1390, double T69, double T1. So SPALE with a little bit more firepower, but with Playing Ducks with a little bit more survivability.
Well, we'll find out which tactic really pays off here, because we are ready for Steps.
Steps is the other open map in the map pool, being 1000 by 1000, having no urban areas. There are 3 primary routes of attack: the trench, the rocky area to the left, and the middle road. The road offers direct routes to the enemy's base, but despite having a staggering amount of cover along the way, you are vulnerable to attack from all sides. The trench area provides for great engagements, as it's only a few hills and rocks to cover the teams. Most of the engagements occur around this rock, the winner of which gains a crucial foothold on the map. The rocky left area provides the most cover for attacking and defending teams. It's essential that you pick tanks that can traverse from one side of the map to the other rapidly. They also must be able to get to the various key locations as quickly as possible. That is the key to victory.
So welcome to the 4th map. Currently, it is 2-1 in favor to Playing Ducks here up against SPALE, who will be starting off in the north in that blue. In the south, it's going to be Playing Ducks in that golden yellow. What are we seeing so far?
SPALE completely avoiding that trench side with a couple of their tanks, the AMX1390s. That will be. Surprisingly, I thought a T69 would be better for this position. Dovahkiin charging up forwards in his T1. He's got Fantis going to the right in his fellow T1, but it's BND Mocky Lumi sitting with those AMX1390s up towards a defensive position. Eurofish playing aggressively in his AMX 3090. He's going for the initial scout round. Muppety is going to be there to try and do the damage, but it's Aga to receive one. Luckily, no damage done. Iceman not quite so lucky. He's down to 918 even, probably from those AMX 3090s, so a good position for them indeed. They are really doing the damage, and that's the thing. Playing Ducks are getting countered at the moment by SPALE.
Yeah, but look at the 1390s for Playing Ducks. They've gone all the way around towards a mountainside, which is usually handed to whoever starts on that blue side. But Loser and Siege having none of that, pushing straight in, spawning out both tier 1s. They will finally meet B&D, so they're a little bit of a triumphant run might be held in place, but actually B&D receives the first shell. Siege comes screaming in for the second, and oh, lovely shell comes in. No easy connections to be made here. B&D down to 600-ish HP. Siege down at 800. Loser still got 1k, and they've spotted out the entirety of SPALE, but they now have 5 tanks staring them down. Siege is in trouble. He can't get away from that defilade. Oh, he's been melted down to 100 HP. He's just about got away in time. Loser comes round on the rotate, catching B&D down to 178, but Siege surely he's going to fall to hands of Mokialumi, and he does, but SPALE have been pulled out of place. Loser still trying to make his escape, but Eurofish hot on his heels.
Eurofish is going to go straight onto him. He's down to 838, and he's going to try and run out of there, but he's probably not going to get away.
Loser is still trying to dodge those shells, but as you said, probably not going to get away, but he does take Dovahkiin down on the way out. If he does get taken down, at least he got one, but actually making some fairly good tracks here, so he could just about make it away if he does manage to avoid the next couple of shells. Allow QQ, Iceman, Scarin to come around and help him out, hopefully, but they have not been without damage themselves. They are all tagged up and, well, a little bit left for scrap at the moment.
It's Aga, and now Aga and Muppety, their responsibility. It's now onto their shoulders to make the next move. The AMX 3090s have done their jobs fantastically, ceased out the equation. What will these two add to the game? They're not going to chase on to Playing Ducks, who are now on the retreat. They're going to try and get back and relocate with their very damaged up AMX 3090 in the form of A Loser. He's down to 306. Iceman 463, QQ 636, and finally Scarin 905. So in terms of both tanks alive and also damage done, SPALE far in the driving seat.
Yeah, and they look like they're not done just yet. They're going fairly aggressive down that mountainside. They could be met with some trouble if QQ plays this one smart. Loser and Scarin all lining up around here. They are waiting in the wings. Eurofish has been spotted out. This should at least kind of give them an idea of where they're going, but QQ still receives the first shell. He's down to 401. Scarin, Loser, and Iceman, though, laying in wait just around the back. QQ is being the bait at the moment, but 3 tanks being careful. Mokialumi being spotted. He didn't actually connect that shell towards Scarin, but now they're going to make their way around that rock, going to try and battle it out with Eurofish, who does not take any damage. He has maintained his unscathed HP, sitting fully healthy on 1100. But QQ, Loser, and Scarin looking like they want to take him down. Iceman first on the scene, but it doesn't matter. There's just obliteration. Loser, Scarin, and Iceman have no way into this. Surely not. As well, I say it, Scarin has taken down B&D. Iceman looking towards Eurofish. Eurofish is low. It's Loser to pick that one up. And it's left in a 3-on-3. HP drastically in favor of SPALE, however. And now more WoT DE or Playing Ducks is now their title. They have to be careful. And I think Iceman just got caught with his pants down.
2 against 3, and indeed he did get completely picked off. Very fantastic shot by Mokialumi. Muppety picks up a Loser, leaving only Scarin to do the damage.
Scarin left in a 1v4. Let's include that tier 1, because who knows right now, because Scarin is fairly low. Left on 416. Fantis tries his luck there, gets taken down, but does use up one of those shells. So only 3 now remain for Scarin, who is being surrounded by the opposition. He knows it. Mokialumi arrives on the scene. 1 shell connects, but it's Scarin to take him down. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, and we have it again, SPALE do pick that one up in really some convincing fashion then, but what were Playing Ducks doing?
I have no idea. They kind of here, there, everywhere. I think the biggest mistakes they made was the 2 MX 3090s pushing onto BND in his MX 3090. They thought it was 2 against 1, but the thing is they didn't expect the other MX 3090 sitting in the background, and then a third one joined in, Eurofish. He did some serious damage, and that made it 3 against 2, which obviously you cannot survive. And then those 2 T69s pushed in perfectly. Yep. They got themselves into the right position, and despite Playing Ducks' best effort, which to be fair, they did try a lot, they just didn't have the HP to deal with it.
Yeah, certainly not. But we will be going into that 5th map now. This has been a really quick game. It is currently all even, though. So Himmelsdorf and Steps now being picked up by SPALE. It was Prokhorovka and Ensk, I do believe, being picked up by Playing Duck. So a really even spread. So I'm not sure what sort of map choices might favor either side. It's kind of hard to call.
It's interesting because both teams now have won both an open map, Prokhorovka and Ensk for Playing Ducks.
Yeah.
And now for SPALE, they've won Himmelsdorf and now Steps. So it's kind of interesting. One city map, one open map each. And honestly, it's going to move, I think, onto Mines, which will be a nice little bit of both. Or Abbey,
yeah,
I'd love to see Abbey as well.
Good choice.
That could just show us which team is finally the better one. Because honestly, I can't see it. I don't know which one's better. They it's like one's countering the other, and then the next map, the other one's countering the other, and it's just incredible.
It's going to be Mines as our defining map here, which I think is the best choice, really, because it is that perfect map balance. There's no city map. It's not an open map, but you get the best of both worlds and some really great play coming out. Last time we watched this, I was like, why do we watch Mines all the time? It's the same stuff over and over. And we saw some crazy strategy coming out. There was, using the Lighthouse Island.
Fantasia, right?
Yeah, using that insane strategy with the IS-3 in there. It was really off the wall. I don't know if we'll see that now. It'd certainly catch them out, but I can imagine it probably caught the attention of teams like this that actually worked. I don't think anyone expected it to. So let's get ready for this one. Hopefully the tank picks will begin soon. But okay, normally, excluding the last couple of maps, how they've gone, who would this map favor?
I think it would favor SPALE. We did play against SPALE quite a lot on this map on Mines, and they weren't the greatest team in the world, as were Evil Panda Squad, but they trained a lot and they've improved a lot on it. So I think it's going to go to them. They've never really been a team where they've used artillery so much on this map, so they've had more practice with just the tanks. So that comes into the equation as well. So I'm going to give it to SPALE. It's, as you said, 2-2 at the moment. So this is the defining map. Whoever wins this one will take those 3 points home. The loser, unfortunately, going home empty-handed with just a total of 0 points.
Nil point.
Nil point, as Eurovision would say. Double T1 for Playing Ducks, double T1 for SPALE as well. But I could give you a little bit of a quick update on a game between Ulanska Fantasia and Mousesports. Mousesports took that one convincingly 4-1. So they're starting to get themselves back up there. You've got to remember that Atlantic Fantasia did beat Mousesports in the previous match day. They played against each other. So that's pretty interesting.
It is.
And double AMX 3090 T69 for Playing Ducks, double AMX 3090 for SPALE. And honestly, it's just going to be which team picks more T69s for the gun depression, which is very crucial in this map, and which teams goes for the AMX 3090, which can penetrate onto the hill very quickly, but they won't have the reload as it's about 40 seconds. Pershing is the next pick for Playing Ducks, as well as that MX 3090 and double T69 for SPALE.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Pershing on this map. I don't know why, but I don't feel it's found its place yet. I know it can do, logically. It's not a bad choice at all, but I haven't seen it come into its strength here.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a tricky one. The Pershing was used on Mines a very long time ago with the T32s. That's just because it just added a little bit more speed, more penetrative ability onto the caps than the T32 could. But now it's always a bit of a question, is it really better than that T69? Last pick from Playing Ducks, 5100. Last pick from SPALE is the AMX 3090, making Playing Ducks total lineup a double AMX 3090, T69 Pershing, 5100 double T1. So that's a pretty interesting lineup because they have got the 5100 as well, which I guess counterbalances that Pershing's lack of damage, burst damage. While SPALE, completely standard, double T69, triple AMX 3090, double T1, just the same as Steps.
Well, we're going to have to see how that one pans out here because it does all come down to this. This is the deciding map here because, well, it is currently tied all even at 2-2. Both maps very hard to call, very close games, very interesting strategies from both teams as well. But very different lineups here, really varying, looking to really suit their own play style. So I'm looking to see what Playing Ducks can do here because this would be an upset. Bearing in mind that Playing Ducks are 7th, SPALE are 5th. This could get them into that top 6 position. So guys, let's get ready for Mines.
Mines, the original and best World of Tanks 7-on-7 map famed for its incredible tactical opportunities. A small map being 800 by 800 meters. The map has 3 primary routes of attack, the left flank through the water, the middle area and the town side. The key position on this map is the middle area as it provides great firing positions and areas of attack for the team that holds it. The middle area's primary entrance is the road passing through the middle of the map. It is essential that the teams take key areas around the hill, both of which are situated just below the hill, the north side and the south side. These locations can provide for some amusing tactics. The hill isn't the only means of attack on mines though. There's also a housing area towards the east side that has a fair few routes of attack and provides great cover for advancing tanks. The water area can be an option for teams, however the soft ground makes it very hard for tanks to traverse rapidly but leads straight to the opponent's base.
So welcome into the 5th and final map. As Joe said, it's going to be mines. And in the north, it's going to be SPALE. And in the south, it's playing ducks. And what are we seeing so far here?
So the triple AMX-39 lineup just using that speed to their best, pushing over towards the Lighthouse Island and getting themselves behind that rock. Well, the side of playing ducks, playing what we'd expect them to, putting the 50-100 in the background, that will be to really provide any damage it possibly can. But it does have a long reload, about 50 seconds, 48 seconds, depending on what kind of crew skills and if it has a rammer. The T-69s and the Pershing going to be using their hold down ability best to their best. Loser takes down Fantasy in the T1, so immediately SPALE on the back foot.
Yeah, indeed, but BND is going flying across Scar and desperately wanting to land those shells. Loser will come in, Siege as well, all making sure the damage is counting, and SPALE's a little bit of a surprise tactic has been undone right here. Let's see if Loser can really get that connection he needs towards BND. He knows he's covered off, going to back away. Smarter choices being made, unless he knows he's got the cover coming through. Iceman will be receiving a little bit of pressure towards that central area now. Agaher getting a bit close, but Iceman dealing with that perfectly, knocking him down to 1-1-0-1. As we are seeing Loser going back and forth still with B&D, but at the moment, seems like Playing Ducks have a good firm hold on this map.
They're just letting SPALE play exactly how they expected them to, letting them play into their hands, not making any crazy tactics. All those AMX-39 is going to come off, and it's Agaher. He's got the damage from behind from Siege.
Yeah, he does indeed, and this could mean real trouble right now. They're going to be pushing their way around. Sisha's got some great line of sight on towards Muppety there. He's still waiting for that moment, but he's gone for the reload. Going to play it safe, going to back away. He did the damage he needed, and that's what I love about those 3090s. They can just be in and out in a matter of seconds, do the work, get back home, play it safe, and leave it to the players like Iceman, like QQ to do the damage from afar. But lovely start to this game. Really unique play coming out. Io now left to just kind of lock down that little bit of an island there. Loser playing it a little bit more safely. Scarin still keeping eyes across because he knows there is presence towards that Lighthouse Island. And it's just a perfect setup of crossfires right now. They've completely locked out SPALE from any easy way into this map.
Well, you know, that's what they want to be doing, exactly that, because SPALE gambling with a lot of their firepower and speed onto that Lighthouse Island doesn't seem like it's worked out. And to be honest, I mean, 3 years later, after playing 3 years on Mines, it's never really worked. I mean, that tactic hardly ever works. We saw Atlantic Fantasia try something like this, but with an IS-3 along the bottom, along this water side. It did end up working, but SPALE are not playing it like that. And I think the problem with playing the Lighthouse is that the tanks in the middle can just snipe up across, and if you try and retreat, you're going to take a lot of damage, or you're going to die, or you're going to get tracked and die. So it's just hard to play it. It either works very well, or it just bombs. And so far, it's looking like the latter. Although Scarin now getting spotted out by Eurofish, he's trying to do as much damage as he can. But it still requires Playing Ducks to make the next move. It still requires them to push on. It still requires them to take down at least BND and that MX-1390. But with Mocky Lumi and Eurofish in the background, it's going to be a very hard task indeed.
Yeah, it really is a bit of a stalemate right now. No one wants to make that first move that really could cost them this one. Siege is still prowling around quite openly, trying to draw some fire and find out where the rest of the opposition are hiding when they've got their way in that defensive posture now. And no one really taking up the offer that Siege was laying down there. He's still playing it fairly, you know, out in the open, but no shells coming in. 6 minutes and 15 left on the board. We are just going to wait to see if those reloads coming from Agaher will actually mean that they're going to be going for something. Muppety still on his as well, but it's a bit tentative. Everyone knows where everyone is to an extent. They can kind of work it out now, but I'm not sure who's going to make that first move.
It's kind of into the Playing Ducks' ballpark, because they, by politeness, I guess, they have the HP advantage. They even have the positional advantage. So they kind of have to make the next move. BND's down to 608, and Aggo's also taken down a couple of shots. He's down to 841, while only Aluza and Iceman have taken marginal damage, to be honest. So I wouldn't be surprised if Playing Ducks makes the next move, because it's kind of courteous. But, you know, that's not really how SPALE works. They don't really care about courtesy. They just make the moves they want to make, regardless of what the other team's doing. And I think SPALE and Dovahkiin in the T1, he might be wanting to look towards pushing into that village if he can find as many tanks as possible, because that is where Playing Ducks are starting to lean towards with a couple of their tanks. The 5100 also moving out of the base. He's going to be joining the MX-1390s on the hill. He's going to be providing both the HP and the firepower they need just to drive this victory home.
Well, let's see if they can do it. They are going to be going aggressive here. This could be the undoing of SPALE, really, who've finally been kind of made to play passively, which is a little bit of a scary sight to see. Himmelsdorf, it paid off, but this is certainly no Himmelsdorf. This is Mines. It's a completely different kettle of fish. And we're going to see if Playing Ducks' strategy of using a section of the map that we very rarely see this amount of presence towards actually paying off. And I do like seeing a bit of variation here. You know, even if it's just because it's been forced by the presence on that lighthouse, we are seeing the counterplay coming into effect with a couple of members of SPALE leaving that lighthouse section, as they might be kind of onto the idea that, well, surely Playing Ducks will be making their move pretty damn soon.
But the problem is, now they've lost 2 MX-3090s there. BND's on his own, and 385 HP is not a lot to play with. So as soon as Playing Ducks cotton on to that fact, they're going to push on with 1 MX-3090 with more HP, take down BND, and now be the 8-point lead. But Muppety, Eurofish, and Mokilumi are trying to negate that.
They're trying as they may, but Siege can just back off, and that is the absolute beauty of the position he's in. And then keep in mind exactly where that 5100 is laying in wait. QQ, if he makes his way up, he can create the perfect bottleneck crossfire if they did decide to move towards that 5-line intersection and challenge down Iceman and Siege. So bit of a stalemate, but really on a bit of a knife edge now.
Dovahkiin, he's being ready to receive the first tanks, a couple of spots. He's also spotted the only Neo a multiple amount of times. But SPALE now looking towards that hill. Eurofish, Mokilumi, Muppety, and Aga, pretty much all the damage. They know that Playing Ducks is on the other side of the map. Now they're going to focus onto this tier 8 tank, and I think he's going to go down.
Well, Iceman is trying to back away, but how much can he back away from here? He's got 4 tanks eyeing him up. 159 is Mokilumi to mop him up there. Siege trying to make his escape and allowing the fire to come in from elsewhere, but he's been picked up. 291. Playing Ducks may have just counted SPALE out a little bit too much. He's just about negated the damage. QQ now getting into the action. He's pushing straight in, but look at that loser coming on to BND. Finally gets that kill he's wanted for so long, and they're working it back here, but SPALE have claimed that little bit of a hill in the middle section. QQ looking for Eurofish. Siege has not dropped down either. That could be a bit of a surprise for Eurofish if he's not expecting it. I think he's been spotted out, however, so that's negated that surprise. But QQ needs to be careful. Agaha and Mokilumi are just steps away.
QQ does have a lot of HP, though. He's got 1,400 base, sitting on 1,145, but the gun to pressure in the MX-5100 isn't great at all. Eurofish connecting that shell onto the T1 of Arjo. We got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Aluza trying to connect to shell on Eurofish, but he does manage to back out of that situation. Does look like Playing Ducks are on tenthooks. They want to push forwards, but they know how much damage SPALE can inflict. They know they're great snipers. They know they have the skills. And honestly, they need to get the 5100 in the equation, because if they don't, they're going to be in big trouble. Siege is also trying to do some damage, though.
Yeah, indeed, and I do believe they're just about edging closer. QQ is trying to cover him off. Scarin, however, has just spotted Muppety there, so might send him a little bit further back in that T69. Does not want to waste his time on that and get taken down unnecessarily. Siege dodging out Eurofish as much as he can. Fire comes through, no connections. Scarin desperately wanted to take Muppety down a little bit lower there. Curious amount of ammo left. I think he's got about 3 shots left on that. That might be Siege, actually, excuse me. And now QQ still holding Mokilumi at bay. Scarin left with 3. And now we're just going to have to wait to see who's going to be willing to break this situation.
Eurofish is kind of tempted to go forwards onto Siege, but you can see Playing Ducks. We got Scarin and Aluza with those T69 and the MX-1390 on the reload. About 15 to 20 seconds left for Scarin, about 10 seconds left for Aluza, and the whole of SPALE completely reloaded. The only one tank that has 1 shell missing, well, Dovahkiin as well, but he's playing that T1. is Muppety. So he doesn't really have to worry. He's still got the 4 shells. It's still going to be plenty of damage to do the burst. Euroffish, though, retreating now, getting himself behind that that road. It might be the perfect time for Playing Ducks to push on to Mokilumi.
I think they just about are. Mokilumi's in trouble. QQ and Aluza pushing straight up. Muppety tries to get in, but he can't do the damage he needs. Scarran holds him in place, but here comes Euroffish. He gets Aluza down. Mokilumi's gone low. QQ does do the damage he needed, but now he's in trouble. QQ trying to back away. He's trying to get out of this situation. Siege is nowhere to be found. But Scarran comes in and they've got the exchange. Euroffish does take him out, however, and now Siege needs to make Muppety and Agatha feel the pain because they are in trouble. Scarran
is going to try and take down Euroffish. It's 240 average damage from that T178, so 272 is a little bit too much to ask in my opinion, but Muppety and he's reloading, and Euroffish is reloading, so he's got about 25 seconds to do so. Scarran has still got a couple of shells in the thing. He will take down Muppety, and is going to push onto Agatha as well.
Yeah, Scarran is not stopping for anything. He's going straight in, picking up frags back to back, takes down Muppety, takes down Agatha, and takes the advantage into the hands of the Playing Ducks. And now look back towards Euroffish, see if he can take down the man that almost undid them here with 3 seconds left. I do believe this could actually be Playing Ducks' game.
It's a draw, man.
Was it a draw at the end?
Yeah. Just because of that last T1 kill.
The T1 kill actually came in.
It's the AMX 3090 and the T1 left for SPALE. That's 9 points in total. And for Playing Ducks, it's the T69, the AMX 3090 that makes 16 points. But the thing is, 9 plus 8 is 17. So it doesn't quite make it. So that one T1 staying alive of Dovahkiin kept SPALE in the runnings and made it a draw at, 2-all.
Wow. 2-all. What a way to go.
Another draw for Playing Ducks. This is what, the 3rd or 4th?
This is unbelievable. The amount of draws we've had today. Today is like the day of draws, and it was just so close. Like, Dignitas having draws is a bit rare. Virtus Pro drawing overall is unheard of. And then this game, on Mines going down like that, my brain's gone.
I honestly thought, no, SPALE had the massive advantage. They just didn't seem to have retreated those T69s in time because Scarran just came over and just took them out.
They turned it. I feel as though at the start, Playing Ducks had the advantage just because of the way SPALE started out, which was just kind of strange. And B&D got caught out massively there. And it was a little bit like, that's some interesting choices being made. But then SPALE did what they did best. They turned around the situation into their favor. But then they just kind of got held by the likes. Was it Scarran in that T69? He just went crazy and picked up 2 kills.
Mm-hmm.
It was so hard to call, and literally the last second it gets decided as a draw. That's unbelievable stuff. So you guys at home, if any of you predicted that, you are better at this than I am, and maybe you should be sitting in my seat. I'll allow it to happen. Don't you worry. Just come down to the studios, just knock on the door. You can sit in my place. I wouldn't blame you. But yeah, crazy games today.
Amazing games. Really, really, really incredible. I mean, perhaps the first one a little bit more as predicted. Team Dignitas took it 3-0, but this one 2-all. I thought Playing Ducks would play a little bit better than they did, but then again, SPALE kind of lost themselves a little bit on that last map. Just gambling a little bit too much as SPALE does. And at the end of the day, you don't want to be doing that on the final map where, the difference between 1 point and 3 points and even 0 points could be the difference between going up, staying in that 5th position, or even taking the 4th position and going back down again below that 6th position, which you never want to be in. Yeah,
because let's bear in mind, points from, 4th to 9th place, it's almost sequential. So 9th place has 13 points. Per game, you get 3 points, let's say, if you pick up the victory. In 4th position, it's only 17, so it's not like there's a big kind of gulf between them. One kind of messed up game or one draw, let's say, which you get 1 point, can hold you back so much. If they picked up a victory there, let's say Playing Ducks got that, they'd be pretty much in 4th position, if assuming Evil Panda Squad don't win their game. It's so close. Outside of that top 3 that's now all tied up pretty much, is unbearably close this season.
I'm surprised. I'm going to be surprised which team actually comes up, because it could be any team. Yeah. I think, whichever team just steps it up from Matchday 15 is going to be easily in the top 6 and could even be taking that top 4.
Ulanska Fantasia are only 1 win behind the likes of Odin Mortis, the likes of Mouse Sports. They don't have the points ideally, but 2 wins in a row, let's say, they'll be back up with them, if not overtaking them, which pretty much puts them towards that 6th position. So it's so unreally close right now. It's going to be so hard towards the end of the season to break this one up.
I'm looking forward to those last couple of match days, I tell you that again.
My word. It's going to be closer than last season, I can tell it already, just by the fact that we're like halfway through this season and it's this close. Yep. Absolutely unreal stuff here. But before we close out the show, I want to hear how many of you guys at home predicted that one, because I did not expect another
Nope.
draw. No,
Nope.
None of us did here in the studio. But let's find out with the delightful Melly, how many of you guys at home actually predicted that one? So Melly, how many people actually got that one right?
That truly throw me completely out of my game. Our Facebook community voted a solid 71% for SPALE, and we actually had some people guessing a clean sweep again. But
Brave choices.
there was one single person 1 hour ago. When you see that, it's already 1 hour and 10 minutes ago that guessed right.
Okay, I will give them extra gold then. So
Okay.
my personal stuff that I got from Gamescom, I will give you. So whoever that is, make sure you tell me their name because they
Of
deserve
course,
more
of
for getting that one right.
Yes.
Like seriously, who predicts that?
That
Crazy.
was, well, such an unpredictable match day. I don't reckon any
Yeah.
other match day like that this season or the season before, to be honest.
And the thing is, I just learned that Evil Planner Squad just won 0-5 against Dinova.
What?
What's going on
What's
today?
going on?
What's going
There
on?
is
Why is
something
this
in
happening?
the air.
I don't know what's going. It's just incredible. 5-0. What the hell?
Well. If you're playing Ducks and you have to face a team that stumped another team the last match day 5-0, do you invest some extra preparation, like watching the VODs
Yeah.
over and over
Certainly.
again?
Almost short. So, yeah, almost certainly.
At this point in the season, I'd be very surprised if any of these teams aren't doing that. If I was them, I'd be straight on the ESL side, downloading every single like VOD or replay or demo I can, and watching that back.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm coming up against them next play day. I'll be like, okay, guys, we need to learn what's working for them, what's not, who beat them, how did they beat them, what maps do we pick. Counterplay them every single time, because when there's literally like 4 points between like 9th and 4th place, why would you not invest your time like that? It's ridiculous at the moment. Absolutely ridiculous.
My face is burning. Seriously, I don't know if I'm red. Okay, I'm not. I'm good, but it's really. It's just madness. I don't have words for that. My English vocabulary is not big enough. Well, over to Twitter. We have questions on Twitter. And yeah, Tomic wants to know if you think that the patch 8.9 will change tank picking in pro matches. That tier 8 TD is pretty OP. That's his exact words.
Yeah, I had a go on that thing. When the first day of the patch was released on Friday, I played with some of the guys in the 7 vs 7 mode, and pretty much every team we faced had that tank. And to be honest, regardless of how OP it is, 850 average damage, I think, or yeah, it's 850 average damage or 750 average damage, it's not actually as good as some people think, because yeah, its reload is insane at like 14 seconds or something ridiculous like that for that much damage. But, you know, you can get penetrated by a T1 from the front. A T1
What?
can penetrate that thing from the front. It's like wet paper. It's ridiculous. And the thing is, you know, you can shoot that gun, you can go for a cup of tea, and then the shell will land on the other tank. The shell travel time is even worse than the E100. So it could work, especially on maps like Himmelsdorf and Nuremberg and Ensk. But for maps like Prokhorovka, Steps, and Mines, as well as Abbey might work. I don't know. I don't see the tank coming in. But with Himmelsdorf, yeah, could certainly change the lineups.
Okay, and is there any Chinese tank that has advantages for league games?
110.
Yeah.
The 110 comes into it sometimes just because of the front hull armor. There does a 132 also used to come in. We saw it a couple of times as well. Not that recently, more in Season 2 because of the kind of damage it can do. But generally, the penetration is lacking a little bit, and sitting at 250 and the damage only at 250 as well. Sometimes it doesn't really, you know, it doesn't add anything compared to a T69, say.
I feel as though it's on par, but
Yeah.
it doesn't kind of excel. It's an okay choice, but it's not going to give you an edge. Whereas maybe a little bit more of a riskier pick, let's say, that has a downfall, but has also a massive upside. It can actually be played better in situational kind of moments.
Yeah.
I feel at least.
Okay, so last question of the night. I3 will be rebalanced. The turret will be weaker. Does it make this tank useless for league matches?
It doesn't make it useless because the BL9 is still going to be in effect. Obviously, I saw the rebalancing and I saw the way the tank changed. the commander's, the driver's hatch is a little bit bigger, so it would be easy to penetrate, but that doesn't really make a difference. But as you said, the turret is the biggest difference. And the thing is, the i3 is being used like a T-32 now because it's got its turret armor, and if the turret's weaker and easier to penetrate, that's certainly going to be a big down for that tank. That might see the T-32 creep its way more and more back into League matches instead of the i3.
Okay, thank you very much. That was it so far from the social media front. Thank you very much for your questions, for your participation, and I'm out.
Wow, Melly's out. She's done. No, we had a great play day today. I've got to say it. We had an insane amount of games.
Yeah.
We had an insane amount of draws, but they were all really close games if you were actually watching. Like, who expected Virtus Pro to actually get a draw at their current 10-2 record? No
one. I never thought in a million years. We haven't seen it in 2 seasons so far, so why we'd see it in this season? I mean, WoT is just looking so strong at the moment.
But WoT is down in 9th.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. The rankings this season are just insane. You can't predict a match anymore. That's the problem. You literally cannot, because it doesn't matter if you're 1st or if you're 10th or 11th. You can still cause upsets, and it's just unbelievable to watch. So if you do want to check out the rankings, by the way, go to the WoTProLeague.com/Season 2 site and check it out there for yourselves, because I'm kidding you not. It's ridiculous at the moment because you could cut it with a knife. It's so tense. It's unreal. So we have had some great games today. I can't say it enough. If you do want to check them out, make sure you head over towards the same site and obviously look through the VODs, which are always available there, and every single Playday's VODs also available there. But if you've enjoyed it, the main thing is to make sure you tune in next time, which will be the 28th, which will be match day 15. And I can assure you the games will be just as good, if not better. So hopefully I'll see you there, because I know we'll be here waiting for you guys.